I've talked about core values before, but today I want to share you my new and improved core values that I want to live by. Hi, my name is Amelia Sims, and this is Reinventing You, the channel where you can watch me go on a reinventioning journey and hopefully be inspired to take one of your own. I post twice a week on Tuesdays and Sundays, and of course, with today's technology, you can tune in at any time. When you do, I invite you to subscribe now. You can do that by clicking on this little square here on the screen in the view or down below that little red button that says subscribe. Today I want to talk about core values. I've talked about them before, but since that time I've been to a workshop and read a book and found a little bit more about core values that I want to share with you. What are core values? Core values are the heart of you. They're what gives you meaning and passion. It's the impression you give somebody else, what they talk about when they see you. Core values give your life meaning. It's something that you stand for. It's something that, when everything else falls away, if anything else remains, it's going to be your core values. You can compromise on a lot of things, but these things are the things you will not compromise on. You will draw a line in the sand, and that is where you will stand. Now, the way I understood core values was through family systems theory, which is a way of thinking about our behavior in groups. But I went to a workshop and it was more about branding and social media. And the presenter talked about a book by Ann Rhodes called Built on Values. And in this book, Rhodes asks 3 questions to help you find your core values. The first question that she asks is, what do you stand for? The second one is, what are you against? Like, what really pushes your buttons? And the third one is, when people talk about you, what do they say? So using those 3 questions, I came up with a new and improved list of core values. Now, one of the warning signs that Rhodes gives is that you have to be very careful that your core values do not sound like your dog. So think about it. What are some great traits for a dog? A dog is loyal and friendly and outgoing and brave. Well, when you write your core values, make sure you don't sound like that. It's great to be compassionate, but a dog can be compassionate. You have to give it some descriptions. Now, before, when I talked about my core values, I really had to look at them, and I had some work that I was doing on myself and trying to figure out myself, and I realized some of my core values came from my ideas of perfectionism, and also that I wasn't really, they were more like what I'd like to be rather than what I was. So I really had to change my core values. Now, my relationship with God is always going to remain the same, no matter what. But I tried to make my core values into something not just that I could live with, but knowing that my relationship with God underlies everything else. It really helped me clarify what I really believe. Instead of saying things like, oh, I believe in grace, which I'm not sure if that's really true as much as perfectionism and legalism, and that's probably not what I really want to have on my core values, because that has to do with my personality rather than my values, if that makes sense. I also talked about God, I talked about stories, I talked about communication, and all of those things are very important, but it may not really be my true core values. So I really had to sit down and think about, well, what are my core values? What gives my life meaning? What pushes my buttons? What can I not stand? And what are some things that, people are talking about me when they talk about me? So I realized that my core values go more like this. My core values is establishing healthy boundaries, sharing stories. That means I share stories, you share stories with me. Being unapologetically authentic. That means being myself. And last but not least, solving problems. I came up with these core values after a lot of thought and prayer and insight and understanding of who I really am and not who I would like to be. And I probably have other traits that are maybe more negative, but these are the ones that sort of my lines in the sand. So that's sharing stories, creating healthy boundaries, being unapologetically authentic, and solving problems. Those are my core values. So what are your core values? Have you thought about it anymore? If you've watched my earlier videos, have you ever thought about what gives your life meaning, what you're passionate about? When people talk about you, what do they say? Or some things that you're like, I can't stand that. That drives me crazy. And so my core value must be anti that. Whatever that is, my core value is something that's opposite it. I encourage you to figure out what your core values are. Sit down and brainstorm. I'm going to be doing a video soon on mind mapping, and that may help you out in terms of establishing your core values. If you have not subscribed, please do so. And don't forget to share this video with somebody who may be struggling to figure out what their core values are as well. Can't wait to see you on the next video. Have a great one.